with it being at the Grammys and it being Killer Mike, what does that actually say about hip hop and how it's perceived? Because they made that arrest very easy. Will Smith laid in the cut and got a chance to do his acceptance speech and went to the crib went to the party afterwards and went to the crib. Let's talk about Killer Mike, the homie Killer Mike and his hat trick. Mm-hmm. And
album in the back, like,
we've had that up there for a while, so we not new to the party. Also his arrest. As we all know, Mike swept, got 3 Grammys. I'm happy for him, proud of him. Mm-hmm. And I saw his but his acceptance speeches. And he was lit, rightfully so, because Mike came out and talked about the importance of this album and he wanted to win a Grammy. I remember Charlamagne talking about that when they were on the Breakfast Club, and he said this was one of his goals. I'm happy for him. We've all raved about the project on the show, so that's nothing new to us. We've all said it was the best album of the year, so it's good to see that to come to fruition, even though it's through the Grammys, but that's one of his goals. What did you guys think about it, though, overall, in terms of first him winning, but also the arrest? Because the arrest was some BS to me, in my personal opinion.
These are separate.
They're separate, but I'm talking about just him winning first.
Let's talk about the winning part.
Then we can go to the arrest after that.
It was definitely well deserved.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't think of anybody that deserved it more than him this year.
Agreed.
And it's funny because, I mean, we've been talking about it since it first dropped. Pretty much said that there's a shoo-in that if this doesn't win, then, I mean, the Grammys they've Grammy'd before. So, right. I mean, it wouldn't have been surprising. But they actually got this particular section right. What I don't like, which kind of alludes to the next part, and I'm not going to go to that because I want to hear everybody else how they feel about the Grammys, is how it's going back in time as far as this part not being televised. And that's kind of weird in light of what happened later. I was in a Facebook group about hip hop. They were talking about how this album and how it's good, but they don't think it's the best. And I posed a question. I'm like, well, what was the best album?
Right.
Nobody could answer me. So if you can't tell me what the best album was last year, but you're hip to this Michael album, then that tells you what the best album is right there, because this is the only one you know about. I was like, it wasn't Nas, it wasn't Drake.
Nope.
Somebody brought a West Side Gun. I'm like, nah, none of those albums were even in the same arena. My personal opinion is Michael.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know, guys, if you've seen the internet recently, but Travis Scott fans everywhere are claiming that he's now been robbed twice.
That Travis Scott album was not.
What?
Not it.
Oh. His fan base is saying that?
Astroworld was hard.
It was.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but even that year, Nipsey's album came out that year. Nipsey's the one that got snubbed that year.
Yeah. We talked about that on the show. That was a joke. Yeah. 100%.
But it wasn't Astro. I mean, Astroworld was good, but yeah, no. Travis Scott fans on TikTok and social media right now are going through it.
Really?
Especially the night that it got announced. And I'm talking like, who is Killer Mike? I've never even heard of Killer Mike.
Did you see what 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐃 said?
It's all of his people, which
these people
𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐃 is not a hip hop head. He's just a dude, like these streamers like Aiden Ross and all these guys that got a bunch of kids that follow him. Like, that's around the Travis Scott age range. And they're just like, well, Travis was the most popular and blah, 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 blah. It's like,
and the thing is, was he? Because once again, as someone who sees music, how it trends in real time.
You're talking about the club though, but when I say like this is blown up on the internet, Travis Scott fans are everywhere.
His fan base is
canceled for a minute, right? He was supposed to be canceled.
Not by his people.
Not by his fan base. Not by his fan base.
Nah, but 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐃 is like one of many people that were literally out there just like, who's Killer Mike? I've never even heard of Killer Mike. And it's like, from our angle, we're like, well, you're just not a part of hip hop. You know?
Shouldn't be talking about any music and even feel that energy to say that you don't know who Killer Mike is, because that's blasphemous.
And there were literally,
you're not qualified.
But there were also literally younger rap music influencers saying that had hundreds of thousands followers. Like, who is Killer Mike? Like, Travis Scott has been robbed again. It's like,
we have failed the youth at the end of the day. I can't. Well, a lot of it attributes to us.
Okay,
because it goes back to that whole trying to be cool and not actually schooling and kind of passing the torch on the correct way.
Okay.
And I'll just leave it at that because we still got to get through this conversation.
Well, I just really quick to finish what I was saying. Like, it's one thing to be a super fan of like Travis Scott or Nas or Metro Boomin and other people thought that was maybe the second album that should have won if,
Really? The compilation joint?
I don't even understand this, bro. I don't even understand.
The 21 Savage and
Drake, was another one. But
the 21 Savage literally just came out, but the 21 and Drake.
Yeah, 21 and Drake.
That was
Yeah, for sure. No. But again, I would just say this. Like, if you don't know who Killer Mike is and you don't agree with this, go look him up. Like, you can be a Travis fan and you don't have to run Killer Mike's name negatively through your mouth just because you don't know who he is, when it really speaks about you. Because if you claim to have any type of, I don't know, semblance connection to hip hop culture, then, and you don't know who Killer Mike is, you really kind of need to sit down and just learn some things. Or maybe you're not old enough, because he is an older,
Yeah, but
even with him being an older artist, though, you still, to your point about when we speak about qualifications or association, you have to, certain things you have to do your due diligence on. Killer Mike is one of those people that if you're going to come out on the soapbox and talk about the Grammys on hip hop and what didn't happen, you have to know who Killer Mike is. Yeah. If you don't, go do a little research on it real quick, do some Google, see who he's associated with, Dungeon Family, blah, 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 blah. Just do that real quick and then jump back in.
Or even not be as passionate about thinking that he doesn't deserve it based on just because you don't know who he is.
That part.
And you're not ahead.
That part.
Like, if you're not that, and it is two different generations. I mean, it's our generation and Travis's generation and stuff like that. But we've been around longer. So,
Jay, jump in on your thoughts about Killer Mike winning, and then we'll go to the second part. Once you just talk, just overall how you felt about it.
Just congratulations. I didn't think it was going to happen, just because I know how the powers that be in the machine works. And so when something like this happens, it is cause for celebration. Yeah. When literally the guy with the best production, which I thought, like I said, even if you just listen to this from a musical standpoint, it's fantastic. You can tell there was money spent on this.
Yeah.
And there was time spent on this as far as actual writing lyrics that might mean something to somebody after the moment that it's created. So once again, I'm very happy for Killer Mike. This is somebody that, I've been a fan of for a long time. And to see all his hard work come to fruition in a situation where he can win 3 Grammys, I think is fantastic. Yeah. Now, as far as I actually I don't want to say got into it, because I don't ever want to say I got into it with somebody on the internet. Like my son, for those of you who are familiar, the kid 𝐾𝐄𝐀𝐃, like I said, I'm not one of this kid's followers, so I don't know what exactly he does, but I did see the clip where he said, "Who is Killer Mike?" Now, I understand maybe you didn't listen to this album or whatever, but for you you are wrong just to dismiss and say who is Killer Mike, because here's somebody that it's not like, I mean, nothing against these people. It's not like he's Jedi mind tricks or Mr. Liff or somebody where you have to be a super underground fan. Yeah. Killer Mike is on Rap Radar. He's on with Elliot Wilson. He's been on The Breakfast Club several times. He's been somebody that you've seen, even if you're not a fan of those platforms. He's been on Real Time with Bill Maher. This is somebody who has been a part of both the political and musical landscape for a long time now. For you to say, who is this guy? Even if you don't know his music, you should, at this point, you should have at least, you should have but again, once again, some of these people, all they know is video games and shoes, and that's fine. But
to speak on it from a level of authority.
Yeah, but if
that's how it came off to me. Like these people are coming from an authoritative standpoint. Like it came off like this. You know what I'm saying?
And so, when I called, I don't want to say I called him out, but I said, if there was someone in their 20s and, their platform was rock music, and they said, man, who are these Foo Fighters? The rock community would come after them. There wouldn't be a whole lot of this understanding and, whatever, we got to coddle the youth and they're ignorant. No, we got to call these people out if they're going to have these platforms and speak on hip hop. Yeah. But then they don't know the things. They don't know who Killer Mike is. That's a problem. And they need to call, my son, shout out to him. He said, hey, we calling the youth in. We not calling them out. I was like, no, we got to call them out.
Nah, it kind of goes back to speaking on what I was saying earlier, as far as it's kind of our fault that they don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, they have so much tunnel vision that even without knowing about his album, you definitely should know who Killer Mike is. It's like you're not paying attention to any of the current events that are going on in the nation, and you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he's been featured on all kinds of stuff. He had a show on Netflix. To what Jay Moore said, he's been on Bill Maher. He's been on CNN. He's been on.
He's won a Grammy.
You don't know who Run the Jewels is?
I was about to say Run the Jewels.
Festival killers, man.
Just off the festivals alone, you done ran into Killer Mike at some point.
Somewhere. So, I mean, it kind of speaks on the whole nuance of being ignorant to what's going on around you by not knowing who Killer Mike is. That's just sad.
You know, if there was a 20-year-old, you know, like I said, you take it all of the genres. If there was a 20-year-old person and their whole thing was pop music, and they got on and said, who is Christina Aguilera? You know, people would roast them for that, but we feel like we got to owe everyone some sort of understanding for being ignorant of the culture.
But you know what though, this speaks to the evolution or de-evolution, however you want to say it, of the influencer and the people that have influence in the culture now, because of how these people are wired. They think it's okay to be able to say what they're saying about who is Killer Mike. But it's okay for them not to care about anything. But one of y'all just said streams and what'd you say? One of y'all said streams and something, or they always pay attention to just.
That was last week.
Yeah, it was last week when we talked about first week numbers.
That's what I'm talking about. When we talked about that last week, that's all that matters now. So some of these people that have huge influence, they're wired just to focus on a couple of things. Yet they're coming from a place of a mountaintop where they're saying, "Who is Killer Mike?" That just shows you how things have changed. That's the era that we're in now. Like, that's how people move around that are as influencers. They don't have to know a lot about the culture that they speak about.
It's more than
they just start running their mouth.
Like, look, this is. I got a couple of the responses that people said off Instagram. I just screenshotted them because I knew we were going to talk about this.
Okay.
This particular person said Killer Mike is not Grammy worthy. Amazing artist, but 3 Grammys is insane. But this is real time.
And I think. With this being said, the 𝐾𝐄 of the world are huge. They are.
That's what I'm
massive.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
And when I was looking at the comments yesterday, and you click on a video of somebody saying, "I don't even know who Killer Mike is," right? And they're saying that. But then you look at the comments on every single one of these videos.
It's crazy.
It's repeats of the other comments. So you know that these people, most likely young kids, are just repeating talking points of something that they heard from another influencer because they want to feel cool.
That's it,
and it's
bro.
not a flex.
It's not.
That's the thing.
It's not a flex at all.
It almost looks. It makes you look worse. That you don't know what's going on out here, man. You got this other person. This goes to the next part of the conversation about him being arrested.
Right.
He says, "Stop lying," because the real reason they arrested him was for stealing 3 Grammys from the real winners.
I saw that too.
That's wild.
Oh, somebody thought they got it for funny there.
Yeah, they thought that somebody's friend was like, "That's a bar, bro. That's a bar, bro."
Yeah,
that was it. That's what that was. That's what that was.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of that. I screenshotted like 3 of them just to see.
Good looking out on those.
Just to read on the show because I was seeing it and I was offended. But I didn't say nothing about it because, I mean, arguing on the net is a tired game. If it's not on our platform, like going back and forth with people, then I'm not doing it. Because
you know what, they'd have been just as mad because the next person I thought, if it wasn't Killer Mike, it was King's Disease 3 that should have won. You know, even though I feel like Michael was better than Killer.
I think it was too.
And you know what? Shout out to G.J. Paul, who got 3 Grammys too.
Did he?
Yes, because he was on. He produced
the.
He sure did.
Yeah, he produced on the album. So
yep, he did. His record is fire on that album too.
That's the one.
Well, did he get 3? Because he didn't produce.
No, he didn't do Science. No, but he did get. I'm sorry, he got 1 because everyone who's a producer on the album gets 1. He did not do
Science. And the mixing, mastering engineers.
Engineers get them. Yeah.
I mean, Dre got 1.
Yeah.
3,000.
Because he got 2.
He got 2 because Science engineers. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once again, I know we talked about the Grammys before and how, you know, we can't put so much into them, but when you see somebody who you feel like really deserves the accolade and they win, then like I can't help, I'm happy. I'm happy for Coco Jones. I'm happy for Victoria Monet. I'm happy for Killer Mike. For winning these 3 Grammys, Me
too, but that's also where it stops for me. It's like, I can acknowledge, and maybe this goes to the next part, like I can acknowledge the fact that, yes, it's cool that Killer Mike won a Grammy, because the Grammys do mean a lot to a lot of people, and from the outside looking in, it is the biggest place where the award show for music. But it's still just an award show, and they still haven't done enough for me, even though they got it right this year. They haven't done,
which is rare.
They still didn't televise.
Yeah, getting it right would have been letting Killer Mike give a speech on TV.
Yes, there's multiple ways they can get it right and wrong. But when I say right, they at least Killer Mike should have won.
Yeah, absolutely.
He should have won the Grammy. I don't know about the other categories, but he got them. You know what I mean? And that's cool. The Andre record was really big with him and Future. I feel like they got that part right for hip hop, but again, they still got more wrong than right to me. Mm-hmm. And me commenting and saying, hey, I'm happy for Killer Mike doesn't mean that this is me saying, okay, the Grammys are back to whatever,
Nah.
People are jumping. I'm seeing people make that assumption. Well, if you like Killer Mike, then you like the Grammys. Whoa.
Nah.
Calm down.
Those can be two separate things. Like, I can be happy for Killer Mike and still be like, yeah, but the Grammys are still the Grammys.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think that's that hard to make that, make that decision.
Nah, because it's been wrong for so long. But
yeah,
I mean, but it's one of those bucket list things for an artist. I think even if you don't care about a Grammy being nominated for a Grammy and actually winning that Grammy, it doesn't solidify you as an artist. It solidifies you as an artist to the outsiders looking in.
And to the outsiders looking in, that distinction of Grammy nominated producer, blah 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 blah. Grammy award winning producer, blah 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 blah. It's kind of, it puts you in a different stratosphere. You see what I'm saying?
It's just one of those things where you can't help. It's one of the. I look at it like capitalism. I'm just going to make the reference. It's like
I knew we were going to get here one way or another.
We exist in capitalism. So we have to participate in the system that we're in, whether we like it or not.
It's the American way.
It's exactly.
It is.
But because of that, we have to exist in it. And so the Grammys are the award show. So us as musicians, you and me, it doesn't matter if we like them or however we feel about them. It still exists. So yes, if it happens, I'm going to be like, well, it's cool that it's cool.
Show up for
it's cool that I get acknowledged.
I've told you that.
That's where it stops. But that's where it stops for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put any merit on like my self-worth based upon what a bunch of people decide.
I've told you this before to your face on the show multiple times. I agree with you 100% on what you just said. But if you are nominated for a Grammy, I'm going to say one of my childhood friends, one of my best friends in the world, is nominated for a Grammy.
And we're going to the Grammys.
And we're going to the Grammys. Like, we still going to go and pop out.
Yeah.
But I understand everything is about context. So I get it.
It's nuance, man.
And if you win, we're going to be like,
man,
Grammy winner. Longevity.
I swear, you ain't going to be able to tell me nothing if Lone with a Grammy. I don't care what y'all say.
I need to find one of these obscure categories and just put my music in it.
Sound tech design, most contemporary
remix,
videographer remix.
Remix for a movie.
Yeah.
But let's talk about
well, actually, real quick, because Gobinator put something in our topic suggestion that's relevant to this, and maybe you guys can just solidify this one more time. He says, do you guys think this is just a one-time thing, a one-time win? Will the Grammys get better at picking the right music, the right artists, the right albums for them to be what the artist loves, or will they pick the more popular stuff like they always have?
Nah, I kind of think that with Jay referencing what's going on, they'll probably try to get it right a couple more times before it goes back to the same tired.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
You know why? Because
so this is a one-off in your opinion?
The hip hop category, I think we're going to see it continually get better. Because
you think so?
I think there'll be people who always nominate. I'll be like, for whatever, but they won't win. But I think the fact that we've seen Nas and Killer Mike win in the last couple years, artists who are almost 50 or 50, and get acknowledged. Probably because they should have been acknowledged before, but partially because they put out really good music.
They put out really good music, but then that's what kills me too with this whole situation, because if these were different artists winning these awards, would they have televised it then? And those different artists,
if Drake would have won, if Drake was the winner, they would have found a way to get it in.
Those artists being the ones who don't drop the, I ain't gonna say socially conscious content, but the content that certain people frown upon, but is very popular to the masses.
Yep.
So like Killer Mike, them not knowing who Killer Mike is, and Killer Mike's message maybe being too positive and too affirming for some people, kind of to me plays into the fact that he wasn't televised for none of those awards. And I could be wrong. That could be the conspiracy theorist in me saying that.
No, I mean,
that's 100% a reason why his speech and his acceptance was not televised. And I think it's deeper than, it's twofold to me, if we want to go there. It's the hip hop portion, but it's also knowing what Killer Mike might say.
Yeah, I guarantee
like that.
you.
Those are the two things to me that made it seem like we can't put him on the show.
Or if Coi Leray would have won, because, it's the whole female empowerment situation, they'd have found a way to televise
100%.
it. Now, also, the part of me, the conspiracy, that's where I claim to the, we're probably going to find out this is all some foolishness and he shouldn't have been arrested.
100%.
The whole reason behind him being arrested has been said.
Yeah, it's already out there.
It's sad. It's pretty much was a security guard or somebody.
It was a scuffle
that wasn't letting him into the venue.
Mm-hmm.
So they let him pretty much get on there, get his awards, and then came and arrested him.
Yeah, so
which
that's all it was.
Kind of goes back to the whole, let's not televise. This is me being a conspiracy theorist again. Let's not televise him giving his speech for these 3 awards and then arrest him right after it to tarnish the whole situation for him. Because they already know that's going to be, that was out before the Grammys was over. Look, everybody knew that he had been arrested.
Look, if they didn't arrest Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock, how you going to arrest Killer Mike for getting into it with a security guard who was clearly wrong?
That was going to be my question, because I wrote that in my notes. Killer Mike being arrested for this security guard situation,
misdemeanor charge.
Thank you. Versus the Will Smith thing with the Oscars, right? You brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
With it being at the Grammys and it being Killer Mike, what does that actually say about hip hop and how it's perceived? Because they made that arrest very easy. Will Smith laid in the cut and got a chance to do his acceptance speech and went to the crib, went to the party afterwards and went to the crib.
No, it says something about who Will Smith is
versus Killer Mike.
It says about there's levels to the celebrity-ish.
Okay, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah, I think it's more nuanced than
I'll take that.
Black and white.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because Killer Mike, winning his first 3 Grammys, hip hop artist, outspoken, all the platforms that we talked about, he gets arrested.
I mean, but Will Smith is the first rap act to get an award.
No, I feel you. I was just wondering what you guys thought about the dynamics of the two.
Yeah. So no,
maybe it's nothing there.
I think there, because if you get it wrong with Killer Mike, as far as like the LAPD and it's the LAPD, it'd be like, okay, yeah, well, we got it wrong. But if you get it wrong and carry Will Smith out in handcuffs, that's going to be an international incident.
Mm.
So there's, like I said, there are levels to the celebrity thing. Yeah. And Killer Mike found that out the hard way.
You know what I think is being glossed over from everything that happened with Mike is his message about artists. It's kind of like, what's my boy's name? I done forgot his name. That shouted us out, big fella.
Jelly Roll.
Yes.
Did he win? I don't think he won.
No, he didn't win.
But he was talking about artists in their age, and you don't have to be XYZ to be able to be great. Killer Mike made a good point about that on one of his acceptance. I think he had 2 times he got it, 3 times he got it.
It wasn't televised. I don't know.
It wasn't televised, but I saw it.
I had to see it on Twitter.
But he was talking about, don't let anybody be able to. And I'm paraphrasing here, the ageism, the fact that I'm older and I still won these Grammys and I can still put out good music, I can still put out good product. I think that was very potent for him to win these awards with that album at his age, and then to go in and accept that speech and say that out loud. I think that's very important.
Especially for hip hop.
Yes, and I think it would have been received 10 times over had it been televised. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part I don't think people are talking about, because I loved how passionate he was talking about that. It should have been a
moment, because, I mean...
Same with that. They let Jelly Roll have his moment. Killer Mike should have had his moment.
That's all I'm saying, bro.
Kind of like how I remember, like, to you saying somebody should have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I still hold the Grammys to a high level, because I remember what the Grammys was when I was a kid and seeing people getting those awards that I looked up to. Right. And this was back when there wasn't a whole lot of us even in there getting the awards. I mean, it was Michael Jackson and Prince
and Lionel Richie
and Whitney Houston, those type of people. You know what I'm saying? But seeing that was important to me.
𝐻𝗘𝗔𝗗𝗦.
I don't think L got one, but
I hate him.
It's cool. But now seeing that was important. So if somebody was able to see Mike accepting his award and saying those words, I mean, Mike is a prolific speaker.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You can't take it away from him. So it's almost like you have to televise that. because he's going to tell you something or say something that needs to be heard. So.
To your point about the concept of conspiracy.
Yeah.
You can't tell me, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
I'm not either, but it just feels like one of those moments.
You can't tell me that they didn't go into this thinking we can't let Killer Mike have this moment on the televised portion of our show.
That's exactly what
you cannot tell me that wasn't a part of it. And I'm not a conspiracy
if Drake would have won, they'd have televised it.
But that's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
You got to remember, the Grammys is still a television show.
Yes. And there's no way they were going to let Killer Mike get up there and drop that game on national TV based off this Michael album, which we know what it's about, how spiritual it is, how personal it is, all of that. It wasn't going to
have cable to see him talk on CNN and all of them shows. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no, like that part right there, the fix was in to me. There's no way around it.
Then let's arrest him, make an example out of him.
Thank you.
In his shining moment.
You still up.
That's where my conspiracy thing comes into play. Right. I think there's okay, yeah, you can win your awards, but for some of these things that we don't agree with that you said, we still got to let you know what time it is out here.
You know what this is? You still a Negro in a coupe.
I don't even think it's that. It's like you are one of the ones that we are not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Well, that too. Yeah.
You get on here and say too many things that we don't particularly agree with,
and we're uncomfortable, and we don't want you to cook on live TV on our program. Yep.
So we'll arrest you. Knowing it's just on some trumped up foolishness, and we'll let you go. We're not gonna have you sitting in the hole, as you would say.
You got to go to some parties,
but this tarnishes his 3 Grammys because we're talking about, and everybody, not just us.
I don't think it tarnished anything.
Well, no, I'm talking about.
But we're not gonna have anybody cut to you at any point during the show.
Long, when I say tarnish, I mean, I feel like the conversation, the two will be joined. That's not. That's not fair. It's not fair. But I think you don't think they'll be joined
to what Mike is about, though.
Okay.
I mean, because he could have got up there and said he glad Reagan dead in front of everybody, and he's gonna continue to lead that. You know what I'm saying? That march, especially now since this happened.
I remember when he did.
It's actually gonna turn him up. It's gonna turn him up.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
But when people look back on this Grammy, nobody's going to think about him getting arrested. I don't think.
Okay.
I think people will think about it.
I think it's going. I think they're going to be maybe not joined at the hip, but I think it'll be floating around somewhere.
I've already forgot about it. So I mean,
because honestly, he probably should have performed at the Grammys, and I'm surprised they didn't even give him that opportunity.
That'd have been too heavy because he got up there.
Unless he brought Andre 3000 and his flute with him.
That would have worked.
You're going to have to catch Andre at one of these small venues on this tour because he ain't mess with the Grammys.
How much them tickets going to cost?
I don't know.
They could send me a ticket in the mail.
What you say, Long?
He ain't messing with it.
And I'm not going.
Hey, I'm going to the flute album. Somebody send me a ticket. I'm going.
I'm reselling that much.
Yeah, exactly. Paying my phone bill.
Long said he hit the market.
I might go just to try to get some Outkast stuff signed.
True.
You ain't going to be able to talk to Andre.
No, Andre might be in a good space at this flute concert. He might be in a different space.
This is the thing.
This is an Andre 3000 concert. You're going to be able to show up and see him. And that's it.
And
bro, it might
he's
be
going to float away.
He's going to float away.
He's not coming out inside of people.
He's going to float away just
if
like
he did that, I might go.
Yeah.
God, man.
Anyway,
shout out to 3 Stacks getting his dreams out. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Killer Mike.
Yeah, shout out to Killer Mike, man. We're happy. We're excited.
South got something to say.
Shout out to DJ Paul.
Yeah,
shout out to DJ Paul.
South got something to say.
South got something to say again.
DJ Paul got a Grammy and an Oscar.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.